श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। वागीशाद्याः सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यन्नत्वा कृतकृत्यास्युस्तन्नमामि गजाननं। शारदा शारदाम्भोजवदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। शास्त्राभ्यपारदृश्वानं सङ्गहीनं तपोनिधिं भजे श्रीभारतीतीर्थगुरुं भद्रौखदायकं। भजे श्रीभारतीतीर्थकराम्बुजसमुद्भवम् विधुचूडार्चनासक्तं विधुशेखर भारती. With namaskaras to the Abhay Jagadgurus. So today we have taken one topic. Have you been informed of the topic, or this is a surprise then? Okay, it'll be a surprise. So the topic is Bandha to Moksha. Right. So I think yesterday my colleague Anandji had spoken to you about Viveka Chudamani. So the first we talked yesterday. He said he covered the first 6 to 7 shlokas. So in that, what was covered? Basically, the fact that the Guru is no different from Paramatma. What is the nature of Paramatma? Right? So Avang Manasa, Agocharam, Vedanta Siddhanta, Gocharam, Paramanandam. So these are all the qualities of Brahman. So that has covered. Then the nature, how rare this human life is. Right? It is very rare to have this body. That is, body means the body mind complex, which is capable of doing vichara, which is capable of contemplation, which is capable of thinking of very higher ideals of philosophy. And so this is a very rare opportunity that we have gotten. And also the fact he had also mentioned that we are all in bondage, right? We are all afflicted by ajnana, ignorance of the true reality, and it is only with knowledge, with realization of the true reality, that we will be liberated from any sorrows that we have. So I think that is more or less what he had covered yesterday, right? So today we'll be looking at what that process is. So what is the nature of the bondage, what is the nature of release, and what is the path that we take to get there. And then there is one more thing. So I always like to base my talks on some text, because my rule is that unless it is told in a Sanskrit text somewhere, I will not say anything, just because that way you know that it is authentic, right? So we see many people today, they just say what they think or what they feel, which is good in some ways, but to make sure that things are authentic, my rule is that I will only stick to things told in our our texts. If they have said before, I can then explain on that if we have a basis. So the basis I have chosen today is the first line of Bhagavatpada's Bhashya in the Sanatsujatiya. So as we know, Bhagavatpada has written so many texts, right? The Prasthanatrayi Bhashya, so Bhashya for the 10 Upanishads, including Shvetashvatara and Nrsimhatapani. So that makes 12 total. Then the Gita Bhashya and Brahmasutra Bhashya. Then besides that, you have the Prakarana Granthas, right? Smaller treatises on Vedanta. So like Viveka Chudamani, Aparokshanubhuti, Swatmanirupana, Panchikarana. So many smaller Vedantic treatises, and besides that, all the stotras that you have, right? Ganesha Bhujanga, Shiva Bhujanga, Saundarya Lahari, Shivananda Lahari, all of that. And then kind of in another category, you have what are called the Laghu Bhashyas. So they are not so scholarly as the Gita Bhashya or Upanishad Bhashya or Brahmasutra Bhashya, but they are still commentaries. So Bhagavatpada has chosen three main texts for that. One, of course, is the Vishnu Sahasranama. So you have a Vishnu Sahasranama Bhashya. In the same way, you have a Lalithadithya Bhashya. So Lalithadithya is a, it is 300 names of Devi, and they all start with the Bijaksharas of Sri Vidya. Right? So in Upasana, you have Bijaksharas that correspond to the mantric form of a Devata. So Devata has a physical format. So Lalita means she'll be sitting on a throne, she'll have kumkuma, a red sari, a pasha, ankusha, and all of that. So that is the physical form of the Devata. The Devata will also have a sonic form. So when the Devata manifests as sound, there will be one form. When the Devata manifests as a shape, there will be one form. So that's what we call the Yantra. Right? So if you look at the Sri Chakra, you'll only see circles and triangles and whatnot. So that is not something that means Devi. That is Devi herself in the form of in a geometric form. So in the same way, the Devata itself in the form of sound is the mantra. So those Bijaksharas are embedded in the 300 names in this Trishati Stotra. So Kakara, Rupa, Kalyani. So Ka is one of the Bijaksharas that comes in the mantra of Devi. So in that way, and then Ka, Aim, so all of those Bijaksharas will come. And Bhagavatpada has done a Bhashya for that. And the last of Bhagavatpada's Laghu Bhashyas is called the Sanatsujatiya Bhashya. So the Sanatsujatiya comes in the Mahabharata. So Sanjaya has gone to the Pandavas, to the camp of the Pandavas, carrying Dhritarashtra's message. And Sanjaya is a dharmic person, but he is stuck carrying the message of an adharmic king. Right? So it is like you have an honest officer, but he has been told to do something that is dishonest. But he has to do it because that is his duty. The higher command has given him that. So Sanjaya goes and tells all sorts of things to Yudhishthira. Listen, they are adharmic, you are dharmic. If they want to shed blood, why should you want to shed blood? You know how great Vairagya is. Vairagya is greater than any other dharma that you can think of. So just, tie one cow peanut, go to the forest, be happy there. You're used to it anyway for the last 13 years. So he tells all matter of this and then he comes back. So although he did this, Sanjaya was not happy inside. So, there is the conscience is still there and he knows that this belongs to the Pandavas, that he has been told to cheat them. So he comes back, and Dhritarashtra has been terrified of the Pandavas since day one. Dhritarashtra is worse than Duryodhana in the sense that Duryodhana is openly evil. The Dhritarashtra has a deceit in his heart, but pretends to be sattvic on the outside. This is worse, right? So Dhritarashtra is worried. What did they say? We have sent an emissary for the first time. So, how did that go? How did that Dautya happen? What did they say? What is the response? Are they going to fight? Did they say, okay, we will not fight? What happened? So, obviously, Dhritarashtra is nervous. And Sanjaya is angry at Dhritarashtra because he made him do something that he didn't want to do. So, Sanjaya comes back, says, they gave an answer, but I'm not going to tell you until tomorrow, and goes off. So, now Dhritarashtra is spending the entire night unable to sleep. So then he calls Vidura. So whenever Dhritarashtra is nervous or tense, he has one habit which is he listen to Vedanta happily. So that'll keep him happy for that one night, and then the next day he'll keep going. He'll go back and keep being adharmic as he was the day before. But whenever his mind is uneasy, he'll just call someone, have listen to Vedanta, and then go again. So for him, it is like a tea break kind of thing from his adharma. So he calls Vidura and he says, Vidura, I cannot sleep. Vidura is also like Sanjaya in that he is very dharmic and he does not have any problem speaking his mind. He says, Maharaja, why are you not able to sleep? See, three people in this world cannot sleep. People that have a roga, people that want the money that belongs to someone else. You don't belong to these categories, right? And Dhritarashtra says, I mean, I do. But he cannot say that. Right. So then, anyway, that is where we get the Vidura Niti. This is also a very famous treatise, right? So Vidura tells Dhritarashtra all sorts of things on how to manage a kingdom, what proper conduct is, and not just the dharma of a king, but also just the dharma of a human. And you get some very interesting things there, like ekaswadu na bhunjita. If you have good food, you should not eat it alone. So it is actually a very nice sentiment. नैकः अनेकेषु जागरान् कुर्यात्, some line like this is there, wherein if you are with a group of people, you should never be the only one awake. This is very practical, right? Because if anything happens, you are the only one awake, so it will fall on you. Otherwise, if everyone else is asleep, you also sleep, or if you need to be awake, wake someone else up, right? So it is very practical. So things like this are also there. And then more what do you say, lofty ideals are also presented. So after this, so this is related to dharma. Vidura Niti is completely related to dharma. So after this, he says, so it ends on a slightly Vedantic note. It talks about death and how the body is impermanent, and that the bandhus will only come up to the graveyard, but only beyond that it is only dharma that comes with the with the atma to the next body. So Vidura finishes off with something like this. So then Dhritarashtra says, I want to know more about this. So what is this Atma? What is the body? What is this death you are talking about? So death is actually where it ends, and it is where Dhritarashtra's question picks up. So then Vidura says, listen, I can't tell you about Vedanta. It is not, see, Vidura is a great jnani. He is the embodiment of Yamadharma Raja. So it is not like he does not know, but he says, for some things you need to have a proper professor. So even though the physics professor may be capable of teaching math, he will teach physics. The math professor will do math, right? So just some people need to teach certain things. So he says there are some people that are Brahmavits and Brahmanishtas also, which means that they are not only knowers of Brahman, but they abide in Brahman all the time. Whereas that is not the case with me. I know what I'm talking about, but I'm engaged in so many activities. My dharmas are different, my duties are different. So it will be best if you hear about it from the source. So he calls Sanatsujata. So Sanatsujata is one of the Manasa Putras of Chaturmukha Brahma. So if you see in this is also how Bhagavad starts the Gita Bhashya. So dharma is of two kinds, pravritti and nivritti. So there is the dharma of action and there is the dharma of cessation. So we all exist in the realm of pravritti dharma. Our job is to do. We must follow dharma. You need to do this puja. You need to speak the truth. You need to give charity. You need to do all of this. Whereas once you have obtained the proper chitta shuddhi, once you have obtained the necessary purity of heart, once you have attained the necessary fructification of the mind, then you need to move to nivritti dharma, which is retracting from worldly affairs. So that is what we have allotted to vanaprastha. So until you get to vanaprastha, you need to be in pravritti dharma. Once you get to vanaprastha, you should only hold on to the world for so long. So vanaprastha exists for the person who has spent the last 50 years of his life engaging in the world. It is time for him to remove himself from those circles and to start turning his gaze within. So that removing yourself from the outside world and turning your gaze inwards is the nivritti dharma. So Bhagavatpada starts where dharma is of two kinds, and Brahma first, Chaturmukha Brahma, in the beginning of the cosmos, he creates. You need to have people to further creation, right? You need to have people to procreate, to further progeny. So he creates these Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanat Sujata. They are called the Sana Chatushtaya. Just because their names all start with Sana and there are four of them. There is no more meaning to that name than that. Sana Chatushtaya. So he creates them and he says, okay, you please have children and make this cosmos unfold. They say we don't want to do that. So he says, okay, here you go. Here is Nivritti Dharma. You follow this. So then he created Manu and Prajapatis and all of those people and says, here, you take the Pravritti Dharma and then you go for it. So that is why Kashyapa Prajapati, how many children he had, all the Devatas, all the Rakshasas, birds, snakes, all the Pranis came from these Prajapatis. Daksha Prajapati, from him came all the Nakshatras. Right? So all the, I mean, Puranas are symbolic, right? So it means that there are two ways that this cosmos runs. One is retracting and one is unfolding. So one group of beings unfolds, one group of beings they remain within. So it is not like Brahma has five people sitting there, five people sitting here. These people are making things and these people are not. Right? It is symbolic. It is philosophical. So this Sanat Sujata is one of these people who by birth are Brahmajnanis. He was born, realized, liberated, and completely unattached to anything. So it is that Sanatsujata that Vidura called on to teach Brahmajnana or to talk about, just like I'm speaking now, right? So he has also called him to speak about Atma Vidya to Dhritarashtra. So that is where you get the Sanatsujatiya. So it is a very beautiful Vedantic text. And Bhagavatpada, and its loftiness is understood by the fact that it was chosen by Bhagavatpada for a Bhashya. See, although there are so many episodes in the Mahabharata and so many episodes in Ramayana and Puranas, Bhagavatpada has been very precise about what Bhagavatpada chooses to quote, uh, to 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 uh, to write a bhashya for. So obviously, Gita is anyhow, it is the greatest text that we have produced, right? That Hindus have, that has come out of Hinduism. So besides that, Bhagavad has chosen the Vishnu Sahasranama, right? So that is something of note. Bhagavad has then also chosen the other thing from Vishnu from Mahabharata is the Sanatsujatiya. So these two are from Mahabharata. The Trishati is Purana. It is Puranic, but it is Upasana related. This is huh? Gita Bhashya is also Mahabharata, but that is the Prasthanatraya Bhashya. I'm talking about the Laghu Bhashya, but yes. So the Sanatsujatiya Bhashya is a completely Vedantic treatise. Completely Vedantic. So Vishnu Sahasranama, you'll find a mix of everything. You'll find some names will relate to Puranas, right? Some names are purely Purana based. Some names are just talking about the qualities of Saguna Ishvara. And then some names, of course, are purely Nirguna. So Vishnu Sahasranama is kind of a mix of everything. And Trishati is completely Upasana related. So Upasana will have Vedanta in it, but it will be mixed into practice also. This Sanatsujatiya is unadulterated Vedanta. Oh, 100% ghee. Like that, this is 100% Vedanta. There is no mixing in it. So that is why Bhagavad Pada has chosen this. And in the first line, so for any bhashya there will be something called an avatarika or an avatarana. So avatarana means to bring down, right? So it is so before the reader enters the text proper, there needs to be some introduction given. You don't want to just drop him into the middle of what's happening, right? You need to lead him into the conversation that the main text is starting. So Bhagavatpada in one line summarizes the entire concept of Vedanta, and that is what we'll be talking about today. So the beauty of our system is that in Mahabharata, in the Virata Parva, this Uttara Gograhana happens, right? So Duryodhana wants to draw the Pandavas out of their incognito, their exile, in their incognito stay. So he attacks Virata's kingdom from the south, and he takes their cows. So of course Arjuna has to come out to protect. You all know that story, right? Uttara comes, he cannot fight. Arjuna ends up fighting. So in movies they don't show this, but in Vyasa Mahabharata, what happens is Arjuna fights with everyone at least three times. Arjuna fights Karna three times, beats Karna three times. Arjuna fights Drona twice, beats Drona twice. Arjuna fights Bhishma twice, beats Drona twice. So Arjuna alone defeats the end pretty much everyone that is main in the Kaurava army, even in the Mahabharata war. Arjuna has defeated all of them in the Uttara Gograhana twice or thrice. Right? Nowhere in Mahabharata has Arjuna ever lost. That is why he's called Vijaya. Right? One of his names is Vijaya because, quite frankly, he has not lost. And there is a reason why. So, which Devata does Arjuna represent? We say Indra, but Arjuna is actually Vishnu. If you look at Mahabharata carefully, because he is Nara. Arjuna is Nara first. He is Nara with Indra's Amsha. Right? He is Nara with Indra's Amsha. So, uh, Arjuna is on a different level than the other Pandavas. So, his valor is of a different nature. So, Karna is a great warrior, but there is no comparison between Karna and Arjuna. So, whatever be the case, Arjuna fights all of these, the Karna, Bhishma, Drona, Duryodhana, twice or thrice. And only after he has done all of this, and then he goes to fight Duryodhana again, does the entire army come back. Because, they are stuck protecting their king. So it was only then that Arjuna uses the Sammohanastra. So one arrow and they all just faint. So you get the question, why didn't he do this in the beginning? Why did he have to fight everyone so many times? Part of it is he has just come out of exile, right? The people that have tormented him for so long are right in front of him. So, he hasn't had a good battle in a while. So you want to fight. That is one thing. The other thing is astras should not be used just because you have them. This is one code of conduct in Hindu warfare. Just not just astras, any weapons of to put it in today's terms, weapons of mass destruction should not be used until absolutely necessary. Right? Why should you waste human life when there are other means to do it? So astras are kind of the same thing, right? Except instead of just human life, astras also have tapas attached to them. So astras are not. It is not like one arrow will be made out of iron, and then the other arrow will be some special arrow. An astra is just a mantra that you attach to an arrow. So it'll be the same arrow that he takes out. Otherwise, he'll have to look for the arrow in the quiver, find it, and then pull it out. So that is not how astras work, right? You will pull out the arrow, you will meditate on the mantra, and then charge it. So if it is Agneya Astra, Agni's mantra, you will attach it to that arrow, right? So you don't want to waste tapas unless it is really necessary. So Arjuna says, okay, I have fought, I have beat them again and again, but they're still coming back. So now I just need to finish it off. It is enough. So what does this mean? Arjuna can fight all of them 10 times over if he has to. But he can also finish it off with one arrow if he has to. Our Granthakaras are also the same way in Sanatana Dharma. If you want them to write books on books on books, they are more than capable of doing that. If you want them to summarize things in one line, they are more than capable of doing that. So Bhagavatpada has written Upadesha Sahasri, 1000 lines of prose and poetry. He has written Shatashloki, 100 poems. He has written Dashashloki, 10 poems. Then you have Nirvana Shatka, 6 shlokas, Eka Shloki, 1 shloka. So if you want me to teach Vedanta in one verse, I can do that. If you want me to take 1000 verses, I am more than ready for that also. So these are all shlokas. If we come to Bhagavatpada's prose, right? Brahmasutra Bhashya, you have all seen, or at least heard about it, about how dense and how vast it is. But this is one line. So in one line, in the first line of the Sanatsujatiya Bhashya, Bhagavatpada has finished off who the Jiva is, why he is bound, and how he gets released. I'll just read that line and then we can go into it. So, Swataha Chit Sad Ananda Advitiya Brahma Swarupaha Api Atma Swashrayaya Swavishayaya Avidyaya Svanubhavagamyaya Sabhasaya Swabhavika Chit Sadananda Advitiya Brahma Bhavat Prachyutaha Anatmani Dehado Atma Bhavam Apannaha Aprapta Ashesha Purusharthaha Prapta Ashesha Anarthaha अविद्या कर्म परिकल्पितैरेव साधनैः इष्टप्राप्तिम् अनिष्टपरिहृतिं च आकाङ्क्षन् लौकिक वैदिक साधनैः अनुष्ठितैरपि परमपुरुषार्थं मोक्षाख्यम् अलभमानः मकरादिभिरिव रागद्वेषादिभिः इतस्ततः आकृष्यमाणः सुर नर तिर्यगादि प्रभेद भिन्नासु नानायोनिषु परिवर्तमानः मुह्यमानः संसरन् कथञ्चित् पुण्यविशेषात् पुण्यवशात् वेदोदितेन ईश्वरार्थ कर्मानुष्ठानेन अपगत रागादि मलः अनित्य अनित्यादि दोष दर्शनेन उत्पन्न इह अमुत्र फलभोग विरागः वेदान्तेभ्यः प्रतीयमानं ब्रह्मात्मभावं बुभुत्सुः वेदोदित शम दमादि साधन संपन्नः ब्रह्मविदम् आचार्यम् उपेत्य आचार्यानुसारेण वेदांत श्रवणादिना अहं ब्रह्मास्मि अहं ब्रह्मास्मि इति ब्रह्मात्मतत्त्वम् अवगम्य निवृत्त अज्ञान तत्कार्यः ब्रह्मरूपः अवतिष्ठते इति इयं वेदान्तानां मर्यादा. This is one line. So if just to show you, starting from here until here, one sentence. This is in detail. This is not just saying Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jiva Brahma Paraha. This is in detail also. So in one sentence, along with some explanation, Bhagavatpada has covered this is the Jiva, this is how he falls into samsara, this is his state in samsara, this is how he comes out of samsara, and this is what he's like in moksha. Right? This is all that it is. You all definitely, because just by virtue of our regional languages, you would have definitely understood some part of it. Maybe not every single word, but you would have gotten the general gist. So now if we talk about it, it starts with what is the nature of the jiva? Swataha. So swataha means of his own nature. Right? There is no other effort involved. By himself, as he is, the jiva is Chit Sat Ananda Advitiya Brahma Rupaha. I am Atma. I am Atma in the jiva. So what is the nature of the jiva? Chit Sat Ananda Brahma Rupaha. So Brahma Rupaha, why is this said? So the jiva is no different from Brahma. So this jiva that by his own nature exists as Brahman. The jiva without any attachment is Brahman. So you have the jiva. The jiva is what? Atma with a body mind complex. Get rid of the body mind complex. What is left is Atma. That is Brahman. Okay, so in this first four words, Bhagavatpada has already shown Jiva Brahmaikya. So this Atma, that is Brahman. And what is the nature? Okay, Brahman is the name that we have given it. What is the nature? Chit Sad Ananda Rupaha. It is of the nature of consciousness, it is of the nature of existence, it is of the nature of bliss. This is something that we experience in our everyday life. How do you experience this? There is no one that says I do not exist. I am not. This will never be the case. Bhagavatpada nakaschit nahamasmi iti pratyeti in Brahma Sutra Bhashya. There is no one that who thinks that I don't exist. Our existence is evident to us and we don't need any other means of knowing. See, for me to read this, I need an eye, right? My mind needs to be focusing on this, and only then I will see this. Have you had the talk on pramanas yet? Yes, no? Okay, there is one thing called anumana, right? Inference. So you see smoke and you infer because there is smoke, there will be fire. So there also, what do you need? You need to see the smoke, right? You need to know that there is a causal relationship between smoke and fire, right? So all of this needs to be there. Only then will you know that will you realize the fire. But for you to realize your own existence, what else is necessary? As you are, with all your eyes, ears and mouth and everything closed, as you are, your existence is apparent to you because it is your nature. So the fact that we are sat is evident, and also the fact that we are evident, the fact that we are aware. So it is one thing to exist, and it is one more thing to be aware of that existence. That awareness is what we deem chit. So the fact that we are of the nature of sat and chit is clear to us in our day-to-day transactions. Okay. Now, this last part is the one that is slightly hid from us, because we say Ananda also. And the whole point is that we are not experiencing Ananda, right? That is why we are sitting here trying to figure out how to get moksha and become happy. So then, how is this to be understood? What we say is Anandamsha is tirohita. It is covered. It is veiled from us because of avidya. But even so, we still experience it in our day-to-day life. Where do you experience Ananda? That is one thing, but that is Vaishayika Ananda. See, just as we said, our existence we experience by ourselves without any other instrument needed. When we experience happiness through food, or for example a cool breeze comes, right? Or so correct, in sleep. So when you eat food and all of that, you still need something that makes your own Ananda appear. So there you are correct. It is still Atmananda. So what happens is the mental, it is called a vritti. So that mental state that arises due to the proximity of the object being enjoyed unveils that Ananda. So when that object is there, you experience your own Ananda. That is how it is. The Veda says, Asyeva bhutasya asyeva anandasya sarvani bhutani matram upajivanti. So, whatever Ananda is the nature of the Atma, all beings experience a fragment of that. Why a fragment? Because if you experience all of it all the time, that will be a complete experience. But you experience only part of it some of the time. Right? So, as you said, we experience the whole thing during Sushupti. So, not even the dream state. Once you pass that, right? So, even the mind has uh, ceased to do its work and you are in deep sleep. So no body, no mind. The only two things that exist are Chaitanya and Avidya. Avidya is still there, because if Avidya goes, then every time you go to sleep, you will get moksha. Right? If Avidya goes, if ignorance goes, then we don't have to even do this to get moksha. Just we will all, if we come to a Vedanta retreat, we will all get one pillow per head, one blanket per head, and lay down. Right? That will be enough. But it is because Ajnana does not leave us even when we sleep, that we experience Ananda, but we are unaware of it at the time. Right? At the time of deep sleep, you are not aware of your Ananda. When do you realize your Ananda? When you wake up and you said, I slept very well. But then how do you know that it is our Ananda that we experienced? Because there is no possibility of experiencing anything else. See, to experience anything else in the outside world, you need more instruments. But there is nothing there, not even the mind. So at least if you say, no, I was remembering something, right? Sometimes even smriti gives us happiness. You remember some sanmana that happened to you, you feel happy. You remember some avamana that happened to you, you feel sad, right? So you don't perhaps need something external, but at least the instrument of the mind needs to be there. In sushupti, even that is not there. So even if that is not there, but you have still experienced ananda, what is the conclusion? You experienced yourself only. And if you have felt ananda, it means that your nature is ananda. And not just that, you can be as ridden with illness as possible. You can be neck deep in debt. You can be in a jail. Okay, you can maybe not even have all your limbs. Okay, you may have a broken bone. Whatever be your troubles in the world, the second you go into deep sleep, you will only experience ananda. The most unhappy man on earth will still experience ananda in deep sleep. Why? Because the unhappiness is due to the body mind complex. Ananda is due to his own nature. So these two are kept separate in that Sushupti. So it is because, so this phenomenon allows us to understand that our true nature is Ananda. So the fact that our nature is Sachidananda is evident to us in our worldly transactions itself. Right? So nothing I have told you so far needs Veda. Right? So you to come to these conclusions that I have just told you, you don't need Veda, you don't need Upanishad, you don't need one letter of any text. You don't even, quite frankly, you don't even need a guru to come this far. But if this is the case, then why are we stuck? See, it is so simple. I have covered it in what, 5 minutes? Right? So if our true nature can be so nicely reasoned to in 5 minutes, then why are we still stuck? That is where Bhagavatpada is coming to after this. So this Atma, unfortunately, okay. When you wake up, you say, I slept happily, right? There is a certain sukha that is associated with sleep. No, I mean, it is called pratyabhijna, right? You remember, yes, I slept happily. See, you are not sleeping happily now, but you are saying, I have slept happily. And this knowledge was not there before you slept. So the happiness had to be there during the time of sleep. Right? And not just that. See, we also know that we sleep in order to relax, right? It is also that simple. We sleep to relax. And the other thing is, we know that we experience ananda because we also look forward to sleep, right? I mean, children don't want to sleep because they want to play. That aside, generally, once you are acquainted with the ways of the world, you want to sleep in the sense that not out of laziness, right? But you don't fear sleep. If it's something that causes pain or something, you will naturally away from it, right? So even, for example, even childbirth, right? So although it is natural, it is painful. So although it has to happen, people still have some reservation about it, right? You have to mentally prepare yourself. Yes, if I want a child, I'll have to go through some pain. But sleep is not like that, right? You ready yourself for sleep knowing that you will feel something good. So it is just out of anubhava only that you know that sushupti gives you happiness. Mm. Correct. Mm. See, for memory, the thing is, for memory, the mind needs to be there. Correct. Right. But the thing is, for memory, you cannot exactly call it memory, because for memory, the mind needs to be there. See, something needs to be imprinted in the mind. But Sushupti, the mind is also, it has dissolved into its Karana. I think yesterday Anandji mentioned the Karana Sharira, right? Why is it called the causal Sharira? It is because it is, as I am coming to, the Karana Sharira is just Avidya and Chaitanya, right? So all this entire world is, it is caused by avidya. Avidya is the 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 material out of which the mind, body, world is created. So what happens during sushupti is, this mind melts back into its cause. The way if you put ice in water, the ice will eventually melt into the water, right? Like that, the mind melts away. So you don't have the mind as the mind working. So what it actually is it is a recollection of our own nature. That is why it is a swarupa. See, there is a difference between a swarupa and a guna. Right? A guna is an attribute that is possessed by an object. Right? For example, whiteness is an attribute of this paper. And why do we say it is an attribute? Because it can be changed. Right? If I color it over with black, it is now no longer white, it is black. Swarupa cannot be changed. Right? For example, this wood is hard. Right? No matter what I do to it, it will continue to be hard. Right? Unless you pound it into a pulp, but then it is no longer a piece of wood, it will be wood pulp, right? So the nature of wood is to be hard, so it will not change. So in the same way, this ananda, that is why we use the word swarupa, and that is why we say brahman is nirguna. See, that is one question we have. If we say brahman is satchidananda, sat is a quality, chit is a quality, ananda is a quality, right? So is it not saguna? It is not saguna, because these are not qualities of brahman. This is the this is what brahman is. Right. So that is the difference. So this, in this pratyabhijna, when you wake up, you are not remembering, but you are rather saying, "Ah, I experienced myself." The only problem is we don't say it is myself, because we are not used to calling that ananda is myself in the transactional state. Ah, one more question, then we'll go for it. Yeah, no problem. Mm. Mm. Right. Mm. So the scientific term is REM sleep. Right. REM sleep is, there is no other brain activity besides it. Right. Yeah. Ah, correct. Exactly, it is you. That is you. The Ananda is you. That is exactly the point of it, right? There is no other experiencer, therefore it has to be me. Huh. Correct. No, that is a very fair question. No, that is correct. But if you remember what we said about Chit, right? So you say I am. So who is? No, then who is experiencing the I am? Ah, see, the knower of existence and the experiencer of existence is the same. The object of existence and the experiencer of existence is one, right? And in the same way, when you say, um, I know myself, right? You say I know myself, you are aware of yourself, right? So who is aware, and what is that person aware of? Again, it is the same thing, right? You are aware of yourself. It is reflexive almost in a sense. So this Ananda is the same way. It is existence is happiness. That is the thing. So this Sat Chit and Ananda, this is all. It will get slightly, what do you say? It will be a bit twisted if we continue to go down this path. But the other thing is this Sat Chit and Ananda are not separate things. Sat is Chit is Ananda. Existence is consciousness is bliss. These are all equals to each other. It is just three ways of experiencing the same principle. Right? We all, and I'll just say one more thing and then we'll go for it. We all derive happiness from existence, correct? What do we really like? We like to exist. We fear not existing, right? Why do we fear death? We fear not existing, right? So existence is honestly what we want. We want to be, right? And we want to experience. That is the chit aspect, and you want to be happy, right? So if you look at even what our natural tendencies pull us towards, right, you will kind of see that this Sat Chit and Ananda are not so separate. They're actually the same thing. The same Brahman is what we are calling as Sat. The same Brahman is what we are calling as Chit. The same Brahman is what we are calling as Ananda. And again, if we honestly, this Sushupti is actually a boon for all Advaitis, because the entirety of Advaita Vedanta can be experienced with two things: Sushupti and Swapna. If you understand dreams and deep sleep properly, the entirety of Vedanta is clear to you. Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Bheda, Bheda, none of those interpretations of Vedanta are as close to our day to day experience as Advaita is. They do not use the similes of dreams or deep sleep as often as we do, because Advaita is actually, the concept will seem very far from our experience because we see the world in duality. To say that everything is one is, completely opposite to what we see. But if you look at the way that we explain it, it can be explained by 90%. You can rely just on our day-to-day experiences to explain away Advaita. And so if you say how we experience duality, simple, you tell the dream and it is done. In the dream you are alone, right? It is only one person sleeping. There is no connection with anything else. You have created so many people, you have created so many places, you have created so many experiences for yourself. You laugh, you cry, you are hurt, you hurt other people, you fight wars, you rule kingdoms, right? Where did all of these come from, right? And then by the time you wake up, it is all gone. But during the time of experience, it was very real, right? You see, if you see a tiger in the dream, you don't say it is just a dream, right? You run as fast as your dream legs allow you to. If you see a dream tiger, your dream body feels dream fear and your dream legs run, right? You don't say it is a dream tiger, so I can just let it be, let it bite me. That is not how you experience the dream. While you are dreaming, it is very real to you. The second you wake up, though, it is gone. But it doesn't mean, see, you also remember the dream when you wake up. It is not like the dream, you don't even remember it. Right? You wake up and you say, see, I saw a tiger in my dream. I was scared, but that was not who I actually am. Simple. It is this simple, right? And then what is it? See, this is Swapna can be used to explain the worldly transactions. Sushupti, as you said, Sushupti can be used to show you what you actually are. Because in Sushupti, you experience this Kevala Satchid Ananda as is, right? Original. You experience it as is without any adulteration. The only difference is a Brahmajnani is aware of his nature as Satchidananda. During Sushupti, you experience as Satchidananda, but your knowledge of the experience then is clouded by avidya. So you asked, why do you only think of it when you wake up, right? As I said, in Sushupti, you have one friend called avidya that veils your experience. So it veils your cognition of the experience. That is rather how I should say it. Because as we said, the experience is your nature. Nothing can stop that. Right? At any given point of time, you will be experiencing something or the other. But what this avidya does during Sushupti is it prevents you from realizing what you are experiencing. Once you wake up, now that you have these indriyas and everything, and your mind starts working, and then you do, then just by virtue of the power of the mind, you say, okay, my mind is feeling happiness. It must be because of what happened during Sushupti. If I remember that there was some happiness, it means that something was experienced. My mind was not there, but my nature as the Jeeva has reminded me of some Ananda. That is what I had experienced when I slept. So now if we come to this avidya is the culprit. as to why. So although we experience this Atma every day, the culprit as to why we are still stuck in samsara is this avidya, ignorance. Now you may ask, when did this avidya start? The answer is, it has never started. It has always existed. Why? Because time is a construct of avidya. Right? So if avidya is the one that has given rise to desha and kala, right? Space and time, then if you say when did time start, means that is not a question that you can ask. Time is primordial. And even this we can ask with um, a simple Laukika Drishtanta, right? So, for example, you are all seeing me for the first time today, right? So, only today you know what I look like. If I ask you, since when did you not know what I look like? What will you say? See, you can say since 9:45 you saw me. So, since 9:45 I know what Lalithadithya looks like. If I ask you, since when did you not know what I look like? Before, but when did you start not knowing me? There is no answer, right? So ignorance is primordial. That is just the way it is. So this avidya, the Bhagavatpada has given it one, two, three, four. Bhagavatpada has given it four adjectives to describe the nature of this avidya: swashrayaya, swavishayaya, swanubhavagamyaya, sabhasaya, avidyaya. If you understand these four, you will understand the nature. I will tell. Swashraya, what is the locus of this avidya? Where is this avidya located? It is located in the Atma itself, because these two are together always. And Svavishaya, what is the object of this ignorance? Svam, again, Atma itself is the object. So avidya is the locus of avidya is the Atman, and avidya's object is also the Atman. So what is the object of ignorance? Atma. So Atma is what is veiled. Then Svanubhava Gamyaya. Okay, let us say that avidya exists. How do we know that it exists? See, for anything, if to say, there is one saying in Sanskrita that is very important called Manadhina Meya Siddhihi. Meya is an object of knowledge. Mana is a pramana, means of knowledge. The Meya Siddhi, to say that any object of knowledge exists, depends on what the means of knowledge is. So for me to say this paper exists, you need to say how do you know it exists, right? Only if you can prove that yes, there is a means of perceiving this paper, can you then say that yes, this paper exists. So if I tell you I have an eye, there is a mind, the eye sees the paper and I know that the paper exists, you say okay. So because the means of knowledge that has told you that a paper exists is proper, you can say that there is actually a paper. If I tell you that I have seen a unicorn, right? A unicorn is a flying horse with one horn. If I tell you I have seen a unicorn, you will say, what is the mana here? I will tell you, I imagined it. You will say that is not a valid means of knowledge. So, unicorn asiddhi. There is no such thing called a unicorn. Right? So, in this way, for anything, to say that anything exists, you need to be able to show that it exists. Right? Otherwise, you can do anything that you want. Bhagavad, Bhagavad Pada says in the Brahmasutra Bhashya, Kalpana, right? If you just want to make things up, there is no limit to that. Kaschit Kripaluho. Someone that is very merciful can just make up the fact that samsara does not exist. And so Bhagavad Pada says this also. Someone, a sadist, will also say that even Jivan Muktas have samsara. Bhagavad Pada says this is how nice Bhagavad Pada's Bhashya is. Right? So someone that is very merciful will say, no, you all don't have samsara. I will figure out some way to explain it. And some sadist will be there. I don't care if you are Shuka Maharshi. You also are stuck in samsara. You can say that. So that is why Kalpana is never how we work. If you want to say something exists, you need to show that this is how you can tell that something exists. So now what is the proof? Proof of concept is there, right? For any project. You need to show some proof of concept first and then they will fund the rest of it. In the same way, how do you know that avidya exists? Bhagavad Pada says, Svanubhava Gamyaya. Aham na janami is a thought that we have all had many times over the course of our life. I do not know. This is evident to all of us, right? It is anubhava. So pratyaksha itself is the pramana here. So swa anubhavena gamyate avidya. Avidya can be um, experienced through your own experience, right? You don't need any other pramana to say that avidya exists. Other than you say, do you know him? I don't know him. So avidya exists, right? So the fact that avidya exists is therefore proven. And the last thing is okay, so what have we said so far? Avidya exists, it exists along with the Atma, and it conceals the Atma from view. So what has this explained thus far? It has explained why I am not aware of my true self. It has not explained why I see something else other than myself. Right. So for example, in Sushupti, as we just said, you are not aware of yourself in Sushupti, but you do not see the world. So there, for Sushupti, what we have said so far is enough. The Shaitan, the Avidya exists with Atma and veils the Atma. Okay, we have seen that in Sushupti. You add one more thing. In Jagrat, you are seeing so many things. I am seeing some 30 people sitting in front of me. Right? There is a glass, there is a Vyasapita, there is a paper, there is a watch. Not just that, there is a body, right? There is a mind. So all of this is also there. So where did this come from? Which is why he says, Abhasaya. Abhasa is a projection. So this avidya comes with two inbuilt powers. One is avarana, one is vikshepa. Avarana conceals that which exists from perception. Vikshepa makes something that does not exist appear as though it exists. This is again very simply seen in our best friend, the rope and the snake. So in the morning, if we are Advaitis, before you do namaskara to Shiva and Vishnu, you need to do namaskara to the rope and the snake. Because if these two are not there, we cannot be Advaitis anymore. Right? Every single example you give has to inevitably come back to the rope and the snake. I made this joke in the last batch also, right? I think so. You were there in the last batch. So anyway, so in the rope and the snake, what happens? So you do not see the rope and you see the snake. Why? Because you have ignorance of the rope. Right? It is only until you do not know that it is a rope that you see the snake. So what has this rope avidya done? The existing rope has been concealed from view, and a snake which there is no snake for 50 meters around, but you still see a snake there. So a non-existent snake has been produced. Same thing, right? Makki ki makki. Same thing from here to there. Atma which exists has been hidden from view. Jagat which does not exist has been brought into view. So that is the avarana means veiling, vikshepa means projecting. That is exactly what avidya has done. So what has avidya done? This jiva who is of his nature Brahman and of his nature Satchidananda is prevented from realizing that. So which is, so what do I say? My name is Lalithadithya. I am, this many feet and inches tall. I weigh this much. I was born here. I studied here. I like this. I don't like this. Right? I am walking. I am sitting. I am talking. When you say all of this, what do you mean? The body is this tall. The body was born. The body has a name. The mind likes. The mind dislikes. The mind feels pleasure. The mind feels sorrow. But what do you say? I like. I dislike. So what has happened? What is actually I has been hidden. What is not I has been made to become I. So this is the magic that avidya plays on us. That is the avarana and vikshepa. So everything that avidya does, Bhagavatpada has summarized in 4 words. Swashraya. Why is this swashraya important? Why did Bhagavatpada has to say that? See, avidya is also personal to each person. Otherwise, what should happen? His avidya, I should also experience. Correct. So if he knows, he sees that chair, I have not seen that chair, right? So if I'm not looking, I do not know that chair right now. He is looking at that chair. He does not have avidya of that chair, I have avidya. So he should also not know that chair. That is not the case, right? It is personal, which is why avidya is swashraya. Each jivatma has its own personal avidya attached to it. It is personalized. It is personalized. So you have this avidya attached to it, and that is why swashraya is very important. And swavishaya. So all the other objects we have talked about, right? So then that comes. So then what happens? Ah, the ability, no, the ability to project. The ability to project. Hmm? That is what it is. So then what? Hmm. Hmm. We will come to that. But we will come to that. It will be explained further on. Because yes, that is true. So see, the thing is, to know you need a mind, right? At least to study and to know something you need a mind. But you are saying that, you know at some point the mind also will have to go, because the mind is not I, right? So how does that happen? We have there is one explanation for that. If I do not cover it by the end, please remind me and I will cover it again once we are done. So ah, so then what does this avidya do? As we just said, swabhavika chit sadananda advitiya brahma bhavat prachyutah. So due to this avidya, this jiva, he falls down from his stature, right? It is you are it is a it is a demotion, right? So you are existing in a state of eternal happiness, and you have now fallen into a state where you are more or less unhappy very often, right? So prachyutah, he has fallen down from his swabhavika Satchidananda. So that Satchidananda, that is nature, he has now fallen from that. And instead, what is he doing? Anatmani dehado atma bhavam apannaha. So instead of thinking I am that Satchidananda, he is now thinking I am in Anatma. So in what is not Atma, he is thinking Atma is I. If you just think of Atma is I, it will make this whole thing a lot easier, right? So Atma means I. So he's gotten Atma Bhava. He is seeing things as Atma, which are Anatma. So, for example, as I said, the body mind complex, mainly the body mind complex, because see, I don't feel I-ness towards this. Although this also is created by avidya, I don't feel I-ness towards this, but I feel I-ness towards this. Right? So, in this deha, so adi means the mind, deha, adi means etc. Right? So, by etc. we mean the mind also. That is what I mean. So, in the body and the mind, which are not Atma, he has attained a feeling of this is Atma. In what is actually is Atma Satchidananda, he has attained a feeling of that is not who I am. Because what is he saying? I am not happy. Right? He has also said, I did not exist then. Right? This is also there. So if children will sometimes ask their parents, why did you not invite me to your wedding? They will ask. You invited everyone except me to your wedding. You will have to tell him, you did not exist then. Is that really the case? What do you mean? His body did not exist then. The child's Atma was there again since time immemorial, right? So that is what we mean. Sometimes there is one this tradition. It is more so there in Tamil Nadu, but it is also there sometimes. The child will be named after the grandfather, right? So the child will sit in the grandfather's lap and say, "Why do you have my name? Why did you take my name?" So why does the child say that? Because the child feels he was not there, I was there, or I was there, he is not there. So what does the grandfather have to say? That is not the case. I was born before you were. I was named before you and you got my name. You were not there when I was born. So he has to say all this, right? So what are you telling the child? You did not exist at some point. You are now existing. Right? So what does this mean? In something whose nature is eternal existence, you are confining its existence to some 70, 80, 90 years. Right? So that is what is happening. You have fallen from that and you have instead given it some fake identity that is now causing it sorrow. Then what happens? Aprapta ashesha purushartha. So every purusha wants four things, which are purusharthas. It needs to be in the proper order. So the thing is, in our shastra, see, it is, you can also say kama, artha, moksha, dharma, but the order is very important because through dharma earn your artha. Through that artha that is attained through dharma, fulfill your kamas. Then transcend your kamas and attain moksha. It is because this is the order that we say dharmartha kama moksha. So it is the beauty of our tradition that you ask anyone, this will be the same order that they tell it to you in. Right? Unless they are being asked to list it like I just said. If you ask anyone what are the Purusha, they say dharmartha kama moksha. They will never say dharma moksha kama artha. Right? Our nature is to tell it like this. Why? Because there is a logic to this order. So dharma is doing your duty, roughly speaking. It is a very poor translation, but doing your duty. Artha is, what is artha? It is actually, the proper definition will be the means to get what you want. That is what it is. So, in some cases, you need money to get what you want. In some, for example, I'm trying to think of an example. For example, you want to get money. Let us say money is what you want. What do you need to get money? You need a job. So there, the job will become artha. Money will become the kama. You want food. There, money is the kama. Food is the kama, money is the artha. So artha is a means in this scenario, in this definition. When you say dharmartha kama moksha, artha is the means to the end. Kama is the object of your desire. Kama is not just um, love, but it is also just desire. The object of desire is kama. Right? So everyone wants four things or needs four things. You need to do your duty, acquire punya, that is really what it is, and then you get in the means to your desire, you experience your desire, and then at the end you get you need to get moksha at some point too. So it is because of this avidya and the fact that we do not know our true nature, that we are failing to obtain our purusharthas. I am Jeeva, this Jeeva is aprapta ashesha purushartha. He is unable to attain completion in all of these purusharthas. So what does this mean? Let us say you exist only as Sachidananda. Is this Jagat something that exists outside of you? No. What do you want? You want happiness. Do you need happiness from anywhere else? No. So you have everything that you need. You are now no longer the Atma. You identify as the body and the mind. So now what happens? You want this, you try for it, you don't get it. Sometimes you get it, you attain some stress, then something else, you need something else. See, side effects, right? You put a pill for headache, you will get stomachache because of it. Right? You take another pill for stomachache, you will get knee pains. You take another pill for knee pains, you will get foot pains. You take another pill for foot pains, again headache will start. Right? So every time you try to fulfill some desire, something else pops up, which is why Bhagavata says, uh, trying to trying to rid yourself of desires by satisfying them is like trying to put out a fire by pouring ghee in it. That is what Bhagavata says. Bhuya eva abhivardhate. It just pops up even more because either raga or dvesha is being reinforced. See, if a child eats broccoli once, it will not like it. If you force it to eat broccoli thrice, it will start to hate it. Right? In sometimes you show you feed a child something sweet. You feed it payasa once, it will like it. If you give it payasa twice or thrice, it will start to ask for it. The child will say, can you make, if you make it only once and you don't make it again, it will say it was good. Maybe 1 day, 2 days, it will remember. 10 days later, it will not even think of asking you. If you make payasa a regular thing, it will say, I like it. When are you making it next? Give me more. This will all start, right? So the thing is, by indulging our likes and dislikes, they are only reinforced, which influences the way we act even more. The more you act, the more karma you accrue. The more karma you accrue, the more karma you have to experience, right? The phala you have to. So this is why Bhagavatpada says it is this anatma bhavana that forces you. It is preventing you from being able to attain completion in your purusharthas. So instead of attaining purushartha, what has he gotten? Prapta ashesha anartha. Anartha is everything that is useless, he has happily amassed. Whatever he needs, he is unable to get. Everything he really does not need, he has gotten. We have as much kama, krodha, lobha, moha, all of these words that we know, we have as much of this as we need. Why do we have all of this? Again, because identifying as the body mind, not realizing that you're Sachidananda. Right? So this is what it has done. And then, so it is not like, see, and the other thing Bhagavad then says is, this is not for a lack of trying. See, it is not like we are sitting here wallowing in our sorrow. Right? We are not sitting here, what will I do? This is what my fate is. I'll just sit here and be unhappy. That is not we are doing. We're trying. We are trying hook and crook to be happy all the time. We work long hours, right? We try to associate ourselves with people that make us happy. We try to only see things that make us happy, right? So we are trying. We are honestly doing our best to stay happy all the time. But why are all our efforts failing? Why are they failing? Bhagavatpada says, साधनैः अविद्याकर्मपरिकल्पितैः साधनैः इष्टप्राप्तिम् अनिष्टपरिहृतिम् आकाङ्क्षन्. See, what are you trying to get rid of? Avidya. What are the means that you are using? They are also things that are related to avidya and karma only. It is like, um, so you see, you're trying to solve the problem by digging yourself into the problem more. Right? It is like you're trying to get out of debt by making more debt. You are 10 lakhs in debt, and you say, I need 10 lakhs to get to do this, so you take 10 more lakhs from somewhere else. What will happen? You'll be 20 lakhs in debt. Or I guess not 20 lakhs, but it will accrue over a point of time, right? So you cannot get out of a problem by repeating exactly what you did to get into the problem. So if the problem is consistent interaction through the lens of avidya, you cannot try to get out of that by continuing those interactions. Right? As I just said, if you continue to indulge those raga dveshas, you only get more entrenched in the problem. It is not really helping you get out of it. See, and then what happens? So what sadhanas is he using then? So when we say he is trying, what is he trying? Laukika vaidika sadhanaihi anushthitairapi paramapurushartham mokshakyam alabhamanaha. So there are two methods to get anything: Laukika and Vaidika. Laukika methods are any efforts that we make that are purely worldly. Vaidika are things that you do that Shastra tells us. For example, um, uh, let us say you want some money, to be very simple, you want some money. Laukika upaya is to go to a job, work and get the money. This Vaidika upaya is you do some Satyanarayana vrata, and you the phalita of that vrata is what you will get some money. Or you do Varalakshmi vrata, the phala is that you will get Lakshmi anugraha, which will get you money. So these are basically worldly and religious methods. You can kind of just put it into those two. So Laukika Upayas are methods that you would know regardless of Shastra. Vaidika Upayas are Upayas that you can only know through Shastra. For example, you want a child. Putra Kameshti Yaga is there. Will If you have not shown anyone Veda, he will not say, listen, I want children, I have not had children, well, let us do Putra Kameshti Yaga today. Right? That will not happen. Because why? The only way you can know that this particular sequence of ahutis and these mantras and this prakriya will result in a child, the only way to know this is through Veda. Right? So that is why some upayas are classified as only Vaidika. Some upayas are classified as only Laukika. So he is trying with both of these. But even though he tries with both of these, he may get artha and kama. Right? So you will for example you do putra kameshti, you will get a child, you do something else, you will get children, you want money, through doing a job you can get money, you want food, you can go to the market, buy something, you will get food. So all of this you can get. But moksha you will never get through Laukika and Vaidika upayas. You can do as many yagas as you want, do as many pujas as you want, do as many vratas as you want, do as much japa as you want, do as much parayan as you want, earn as much money as you want, build as big a house as you want. Anything you do that is Laukika or Vaidika, you will never get moksha. Right? So that is what Bhagavatpada is saying. Laukika Vaidika sadhanehi anushthitairapi, though he has meticulously followed all the things that are there in the world and all the things told in Veda, Paramapurushartham mokshakyam alabhaman. He will never get moksha. Right? That is, he is not getting that. And this is also evident to us in the world, right? See, we also do pujas. It is not like we are nastikas or something, right? We are also doing pujas. And many of us also see some benefits from that. Right? It is not like pujas are also just you do it and nothing happens. Many of us see, right? We have done this, we have prayed to Bhagavan, and some sequence of events has happened where our prayers have been answered. Something like this has happened. And so we see that. We also see that our human effort also gives us some fruit, right? I have studied hard and I have done well in my exam. I have done well in my exam, I've gotten a good job. I've gotten a good job, I am getting money. So we see that our effort also fructifies. It is not like our efforts are completely waste, but they are useless when it comes to moksha. That is what we need to understand here. See, Vedanta, all it says when we say that all of this is, nahi nahi rakshati and all of that, we do not mean that it is completely useless. We mean it is useless when it comes to moksha. Right? So that is what Bhagavad is saying here. So then what happens? He does not get that. And then makaradibhiravar agadveshadibhihi itastataha akrishyamanaha. Like, if you look at National Geographic, and a deer falls into some river where there are many crocodiles, what will happen? One leg will be dragged this way, one head will be dragged this way, one other leg will be dragged this way, right? The crocodiles tear that animal apart, limb to limb. In the same way, Bhagavad said, Makaradibhiriva, as if by crocodiles, this Jeeva is being dragged in every direction by Raga and Dvesha. Right? Think of, just if you sit down and think of all the efforts that you go through to avoid unpleasantness, and think of all the efforts that you go through to experience pleasantness. If you just think of everything that you do, right? You will take a detour sometimes why you don't want to see something. Children will know this, right? You want to watch a movie, how much drama they will do to go to the movie. They will be well behaved since morning, they will study hard, they will come and ask their parent, right? Why does he have to do this? There is raga towards the movie, right? So then sometimes his mom will pack him some lunch, mother will pack him some carriage for school. That is something he does not want to eat. But when the mom comes, if he comes back with the dabba as is, he will get scolded. And if so, all of this, he has to come up with some story, he has to give it to someone else, he has to do all of this dance. Why does he have to do all of this? He has dvesha, right? This is just for a child. Now you put this into the lens of the adult, we laugh at the child, but as adults we do even more. Right? As adults, we do even more of a, we do an even bigger dance to avoid unpleasantness and to try to get pleasantness. Right? So that is what it means by ragadveshadibhi itastataha. So from hither to tither is there in English, right? So that itastataha akrishyamana, being dragged. So that is the state of the jiva, right? And then what happens? Sura, Nara, Tiryagadi, Prabheda, Bhinnasu, Nana, Yonishu, Parivartamana. He cycles through various births, right? We said yesterday, Jantunam, Nara Janma Durlabham, which means there is no guarantee that he'll be born as a human. You can be born as a elephant, as a mosquito, as a fungus, even who knows, right? You can be, yeah, we say you, but we were probably fungi at one time, even who knows, right? So you cycle through so many different things, and that is what is being said. Sura, sometimes you will get a divine janma. Nara, sometimes you're lucky you'll be born as a human. Tiryak, you'll be born as an animal. What does Tiryak mean? Horizontal. Right? We say this is Urdhva Pundra and Tiryak Pundra. That is a name in Shastra, right? So Vaishnavas, the Tilaka that Vaishnavas put is called Urdhva Pundra. What we do when you put Vibhuti is called Tiryak Pundra because it is horizontal. So animals, they grow like this, correct? Their bodies are parallel to the ground, whereas we grow like this. So that is why they are called Tiryanchaha or Tiryak. Hmm? So you cycle through so many different bodies, right? Unable to attain this. You get moksha, you'll stop cycling. You'll stop going from body to body. But you do not get it. You have ragadvesha, you run around with ragadvesha, you do more things, you get karmas, good karmas, you get a better janma, bad karmas, you go down. You're still doing something or the other. So in such a situation, muhyamanaha, that is one more line. So summarize all of this. He is afflicted with moha. The cause of all of this big Bhagavata Purana that I just told you is moha. He does not know his true nature, and therefore samsaran. He goes through samsara. So until now, this is one kind of journey. This is the interval. So hero has just been beaten up. The girl has rejected him. Whatever, something has happened until now. Now the interval comes. Interval comes means what? Now the story changes. So we think in interval is a modern concept. In Ramayana there is an interval. Sita is right in the middle of Ramayana. What happens? Sita Paharana. Rama cries. He walks around. Right at the interval, what happens? Hanuman comes. Hanuman is the interval of Ramayana. That is from the time Hanuman enters Ramayana, there is a new life. From the time Hanuman enters Ramayana, there is no more sorrow. From the time Hanuman enters Ramayana, no one cries ever again. Until then, every single Kanda is crying only. Balakanda, Dasharatha does not want to send Rama with Vishwamitra, he cries. Ayodhya Kanda, everyone cries. There is not one happy person in Ayodhya Kanda, including Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi is also not happy. Aranya Kanda, okay, some they were happy for some time, but they are also very troubled for some time. You come to Kishkinda Kanda, then from the second that Hanuman enters the story, there is nothing but life. Right? The one name for Vayu is Jagat Prana. Right? Hanuman is Jagat Prana Nandana. So that is one thing. Wherever he goes, he brings life. So that is the interval of Ramayana. The second Rama and Hanuman meet, finished. Ravana is done. Right? And you see from there everything else. There is no turning back. He, Rama built a bridge over the ocean, right? Something that is inconceivable happens. He fights the war, right? Everything is just goes, it's smooth sailing from there. From there straight Pattabhisheka, Sida Rasta, right? So that is the case. So like that also in the story of Ramayana is actually, we'll maybe talk about that another time, because what time is it? 11. Okay, so we'll finish up in 10 minutes. So Ramayana is actually also the story of the Jiva. We make it very quickly. And the interval in Ramayana is exactly the same as the interval here. So, what is the interval here? Kathanchita punya visheshat. So, at some point in time, the jiva's punya kicks in. So, when we say, we just said that, all these yagas and pujas are useless, right? So, why do them? For punya. With punya, you will be afforded certain opportunities, right? Bahunam janmanamante jnanavanvam prapadyate. After several lives of going through troubles and doing sadhana, only then will someone realize that, okay, the jnana marga is what I need to pursue. For even that mind to come, we need some form of Ishvara Anugraha, which you get through Punya. Because see, we say Ishvara Anugraha, it is not Ishvara, he spins a wheel and he says, today you get Anugraha. That is not what Ishvara does. The example that is given in Brahma Sutra is Parjanyavata. Rain rains everywhere. If you have plowed the field and kept the seeds ready, it will sprout. If you have not done any work and you said the rain is partial, it rained and his crops came and mine did not, what is that? That does not happen. So it is actually our own punya that gets us Ishwaranugraha. But we say it is Ishwaranugraha, but you need to earn it. You need to earn Ishwara's Anugraha. Right. So by the time you get Ishwaranugraha, from there you will get Sadbuddhi, the opportunity to get Satsanga like this, the mental capability to study Vedanta. Right. Some people, for some reason or the other, however much you tell them, it does not go into their head. Right. That is just some, we cannot say why. So more Ishwara Aradhana is needed to get a Sadguru. Right. To get, if to, especially to get a normal Guru itself needs Punya. If you want to fall at the feet of the Jagat Guru, it is Janmas and Janmas of Punya. Right. So for all of this, you need punya. So the turning point is that guru. To get the rakshana of that guru is the turning point, which is why in Viveka Chudamani you saw yesterday, right? What is the first thing? You go to the guru and fall at his feet. After that, everything will be taken care of. That is exactly the story of Ramayana. Rama is Paramatma. Sita is the Buddhi, or the Buddhi or the Jivatma. You can interpret both ways. When they are together, when the Atma and Paramatma are one, or when the Buddhi is always with Atma, whether they are in Ayodhya or the forest, they will always be happy. Then what happens? A golden deer is found. A golden deer is literally the embodiment of desires, right? Gold. Everyone wants gold, and the deer is chanchala. Of all animals, it moves the fast, it runs the fastest, right? So you see a golden deer, and rather than being happy with Paramatma that is with you, you want that. And not only do you want that, you send Paramatma away for that also. No, is that not what we do? Rather than wanting Paramatma, when we say, I want money, so I do puja, go get me that money. No, it is in our day to day life. Correct. So we see a deer, you not only want it, but you send him off on it. And then what happens? A 10-headed Rakshasa will catch you and take you. What are those 10 heads? This Kama, Krodha, Lobha. These will all come, grab you, and just take you and go. And they put you in Lanka. What is Lanka? This body is Lanka. You are stuck in Lanka. And you are surrounded by Rakshasas. You cannot go out. And now you are stuck here with no means to contact Paramatma. No means to contact what Paramatma is, what? Your true nature. Right? You have no means to get back to that. Until, what did Sita do in Lanka? She slept? No. She thought of Rama incessantly. Sita did tapas in that Ashokavana. Right? Tapasvinim, Tapyantim. Valmiki uses so many times. Right? So she did nothing. Rameti Rameti Sadaiva Buddhya Vichintya. She thought of nothing but Rama in her mind. Bruvati Tameva. She said nothing but Rama's name. So only after for 10 or 11 months she sat there, what happened? Hanuman comes to her. Hanuman is the Guru. The second Guru comes. What does the Guru bring? He brings Rama's Mudrika. The seal of Rama is brought and said, he is coming for you. Hold tight. And then Paramatma comes, the Guru comes, they will fight your war for you, and then you will be back with your Paramatma. That is the story of Ramayana in the Adhyatmika mindset. So, what is the interval of Ramayana? The arrival of, who is the arrival of the Guru? So, the second that the Guru enters your story will change. And just as with Hanuman, the second Hanuman enters, Rama does not have to think twice again. Huh? In the same way, the second the Guru enters your sadhana, no need to think twice. It will be straight path forward, assuming you stay focused and devoted to the Bhagavan and Guru. Right? So that is the turning point that has come here. So until now, Bhagavatpada summarized said, Muhyamanaha samsaran. Through moha, he is in samsara. But then that is why Bhagavatpada has used one word, kathanchit, somehow or the other, inexplicably. This is one meaning. It can also mean through great effort. Right? In Telugu, if you say elago ala panjesana, what does it mean? I strived very hard and it happened. Right? So that elago ala, if you can also say adi elago alaga ayipindi, which means I do not know how it happened, but it happened. Right? I don't know other languages well enough to say it, but I think you all get my point. Right? So that kathanchit works both ways. So anugraha, you cannot tell when it will come, right? So it can be that. So inexplicably, at some point of time, things will start to go well. But the better meaning for us is through great effort, right? So only if you start to work for it, you will never get anything without working for it, right? So only if you start to work for this Atma Jnana, things will start to change. Then what happens? Kathanchita, Hmm. Kathanchit punya visheshat. Through the fructification of your punyas, what happens? And how do you accrue that punya? Vedoditena Ishwarartha karma anushtanena. By doing karma for Ishvara. So until now, what was the Jiva doing? He was doing karma because of Ragadvesha, which means for himself. So he says, I am doing something because I want something that I like. I am doing something to get rid of something that I don't want. So until now, the Jiva is doing things for himself. The Jiva, it is not like today I have eaten because I want to feel full. Tomorrow I should not do anything, so I'll stop eating and stop breathing also. Right. So that is not what we mean. Ishvara artha karmanushtana. What does it mean? You do you know this shloka. Sarva karman parityajya mamekam sharanam this and karmanyevadhikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. That is what this means. Do your work. Leave the phala to Ishvara. This is one thing. Or do every work as some offering to Ishvara. This is what we get in Saundarya Lahari, right? Japo jalpaha. Shilpam sakalampi mudra virachana. Whatever I talk, let it be japa of your nama. Sakalapi mudra, so in Sri Vidya you have the Dashamudra, she is Dashamudra Samaradhya. So all those mudras are there. I move my hand in so many ways through the day. I pick this up, I put this there, I do this, I do this. Right? So whatever movements of my hand are there, let it be mudras for you. Gatif pradakshinya kramanam. Wherever I walk, let it be pradakshina for you. Ashanad Yahuti Vidhi, whatever I eat, let it be Naivedya to you. How does this happen? You just tell the shloka once or 10 times, right? We like doing that in Hinduism. Telling something 10 times is better than telling it once, right? So you sit there, you do japa of this shloka 10 times, and you go about your life. That is not what this shloka means. This bhavana needs to be there. If this mentality is there, yes. If you say, listen, Amma, I will have to say many things for the sake of transacting with this world, but let it be so that every work I do is your service. If this mindset is there, then yes, everything you say will be equal to japa. If you just tell the shloka 10 times and say, I told that shloka, I am covered, insured. That is not how it works, right? So if you do things for Ishvara, what happens? Ishwarartha karmanushthanena, by doing karma for Ishvara, as service to Ishvara, apagata raga adi malaha. You get rid of raga and dvesha. Why? You have gotten yourself used to acting without raga dvesha. So now that that practice has come, raga dvesha will now no longer have any influence on you. For example, we all like to be warm, we don't want to be cold. Correct? Now, Dhanurmasa will come. It has come. It has come, right? It has started. It comes during Margashirsha, correct? So Dhanurmasa has come. So the what is our Vrata during Dhanurmasa? You take bath before sunrise. This is winter. It is incredibly cold. So what does a dharma do? You wake up for whom? For Krishna. Somehow your waking up is not connected to Krishna in any way. Correct? If you wake up, what does he get? He does not even get some butter to eat. If you wake up, what does he get? Nothing. But you are told to wake up for Krishna. Okay, so you wake up. You are told to wake up for 30 days in the middle of winter and take bath in river water, which is always cold. So now what have you really been practicing? Now hot and cold will not matter to you anymore. Correct? If you can wake up and take a bath at 4:30 a.m. in the middle of winter, you will definitely be able to do it in summer. So now you have given up caring about hot and cold. Ekadashi comes. What do you have to do? Upavasa. And on top of that, the person next door to you will not do upavasa and he will make something that you can smell from your house. This is equal to doing two upavasas. Right? But what are you practicing twice a month if you do Ekadashi properly? You are practicing even though you are hungry, even though food is tempting you, you are able to abstain from it. So if you follow everything that our dharma tells you, what are you really practicing? Raga and dvesha not affecting you. However much you may like something, you will not eat it on that day. However much you want to just wrap that blanket around you and sleep, you will not do that. So that is the Ishwarartha Karmanusthana. If you do it for yourself, why do I want to wake up? If it is for me, I will sleep more. I will sleep 2 hours past daybreak. I will sleep for 2 hours past dawn if it is for me. If you say it is for Krishna, okay, I'll wake up earlier. Right? So Ishwarartha Karmanusthana. And there is one more benefit to this is that if you do a karma as Ishwararpana, the karma will not affect you. That is what Bhagavan says in Gita. Yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Here yajnarthat means yajno vai Vishnu is what Veda is saying. Is what Bhagavatpada has written in the Bhashya. Yajno vai Vishnu. Yajna is nothing other than Bhagavan. So yajnarthat karmanaha, aside from karma that is performed for Bhagavan, anyatra, besides that, lokoyam karma bandhanaha. This world is bound by karma. So karma that is done besides karma that is done for Ishvara, all other karma leads to bondage. So what are you doing now? You have also made sure that you will not accrue additional bondage through karma. So by doing this, by doing karma for Ishvara, you have gotten rid of your ragadi doshas. And then what happens? Anityadi, and then now this is one thing. Now you have to start sadhana in Jnana Marga. So what do you need? There are 4 qualities you need to be a proper sadhaka in this Jnana Marga. You have gotten it in Viveka Chudamani yesterday. What are they? Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. Then Ihamutra Phala Bhoga Viraga. Then Shamadhi Shadguna Sampatti. Then Mumukshutva. Okay. In this also the order is very important. Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. You need to know that only Brahman is permanent and all other objects are impermanent. Therefore, you will have vairagya towards all impermanent objects, right? If it is not permanent, why should I want this when I can get something else? That is vairagya. To get this vairagya, what do you need? You need certain mental tendencies. See, when we have Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, why did we not just add this together? So 3 plus 6, let it be 9 qualities. Why are we counting it as only 4? It is because the Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti combined is mental practice. So what it means is having the right mindset. Having the right mindset is one quality. This entails having 6 different qualities. That is why we have put together in one group. Through all of this, what do you get? Mokshutva. Desire for moksha. Now we also want moksha, right? See, it is not like we don't want moksha. But for us, moksha is like the Pani Puri stand. When you are going, if you see a Pani Puri stand, you will eat Pani Puri. If it does not come, you will not get it. We are also the same way. If Bhagavan comes and says, you are the winner of today's lottery, I have decided to give you moksha, we will take it. But if you say you need to put everything else aside to try for moksha, we will say we will wait until I retire. We'll see that. Right? So that is not the mokshutva that we want. Mokshutva means tivra mokshutva. The example given in Shastra is if your hair is on fire, the way you want to go jump in a lake, you should want moksha like that. Some places they will say if the house is on fire. But if the house is on fire, you can say I'll just buy a new house. If your hair is on fire, you cannot say I'll buy a new body, right? So you will run immediately. So like that Tivra mokshutva, you don't want anything else other than moksha. You cannot bear to spend time on anything other than that, is the result of doing these first 3 qualities properly. So if you have proper viveka, if you have proper vairagya, and you have properly prepared your mind using the Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, you will automatically get that burning desire for moksha. Okay, so you will get all of these. That is what Bhagavatpada is saying. So by doing all these karmas, by doing all of these Ishvara Aradhana, by doing all of that, your mind gets pure and then you need to inculcate certain things. So how do you get Ihamutra Phalabhoga Viraga? By seeing Anitya Dosha. Right? So Anitya Dosha Darshanena. There is a dosha. All things that you want to experience are flawed. They are flawed by impermanence. So if I want to eat something, how long does it stay on my tongue? A few seconds. But think of how much trouble you cook for how long. Mothers, please tell me how long you cook every day. You will spend 3 hours in the kitchen at least if you want to make 3 meals. But the meals combined, the time for eating is 15 minutes for each meal or 20 minutes for each meal. So 3 hours cooking time is finished in 1 hour. And if you are even then, if you are considering the pleasure that you get from it, each morsel will give you 5 seconds of pleasure. Right? Forget about the tongue. The second it goes to the back of your throat, you cease to feel it anymore. You feel it go down the throat. The second it passes this, you don't even know where it has gone. And for this, think of all the process that you are doing. So now, in this way, if you see that everything is anitya, you will immediately get what? Utpanna amutra ihamutra phalabhoga viragaha. Iha means in this world, amutra means in swarga. So even swarga is impermanent, right? Kshine punya martyalokam vishanti. Once, see, if you if you buy a ticket to something, they will let you buy a ticket to a concert. They will let you sit there until when? Until the concert finishes. If you say, no, I have a ticket to enter, please let me stay here. They'll say, no, the concert is done, you leave, get out. If you don't leave, they will push you out. Right? And there are stories in Swarga where people have said, I don't want to leave, and Indra grabs him by the neck and shoves him out. Right? You see that. So in the same way, amutra viraga. So amutra bhogas that you get in other worlds also, they are also, you may sit there for ushitva shashwati samaha. So you may be there for a long time, right? But at the end of the day, it is still impermanent. So you have now gotten vairagya towards anything, any pleasure that you can get in this world or the other world. Then what happens? Vedantebhya pratiyamanam brahmatma bhavam bubutsuhu. Now you have heard that there is something called Brahman, then by the knowledge of which I will become eternally happy, and you want to know that now. So now the desire to know also has come. Then what do you do? Vedotiti shamadamadi sadhana sampannaha. So I will not elaborate here. You have learned what shama, dama, titiksha, uparati, shraddha and samadhana were yesterday. So I will not elaborate that. But through all of this, you have inculcated this. And then what do you do? Brahmavidamacharyam upetya. You approach an acharya that is a brahmajnani. You do not approach an acharya that can give you an academic understanding of Brahman. You need to approach an acharya that has experienced Brahman, which is why Veda says tadvijnanartham, to know that Brahman guru meva abhigachet, gurum abhigachet eva. You must approach a guru. There is no other way around it. What kind of a guru? Tamitpani shrotriyam brahmanishtham. Shrotriyam means shruti sampannam, one who is well read, and brahmanishtham, one who is established in Brahman. He is experiencing Brahman. Why do we need both of these? Some gurus may be Brahmanishtha, they may experience Brahman, but if they are not well read, they will not be able to properly answer the questions of the student. See, you can know what it feels like, but if the student says, see, in my sadhana I feel this, or I'm thinking this, is this correct or not? Upanishad says this, is this right or not? The guru should be able to answer. So, which is why you need to go to a guru that has both of this. And you will not find a better parampara in this world than this parampara for that. The acharyas of this pitha, in addition to having intense anusthana and upasana and all of that, the panditya, the shastra panditya that has been there in this parampara is second to none. You will not find another pithadipati that can run the vakyartha sabha the way acharya does. If you think about what Sannidhanam Varu, for example, since the last 4 or 5 years, Sannidhanam Varu is presiding over the Vakyartha Sadas. What does it mean to preside? There are scholars in front of you in 4 Shastras: Vyakarana, Nyaya, Karma, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. These are scholars that have been studying these Shastras for decades. Sannidhanam Varu came to Sringeri in 2008-9. Shastra study started maybe 1 or 2 years after that and finished in 2018. Okay, so max Acharya's Shastra Adhyayana was 7 or 8 years. Okay, and then after that, it is whatever Acharya reads on Acharya's own. Patha was finished by then. So now, this Acharya is now sitting there and is being the Adhyaksha for this Sabha. So what does it mean? When these Panditas who have studied one Shastra for several decades cannot come to a conclusion, Acharya gives them the answer. When they disagree with each other, Acharya puts them in line. If they say something wrong by mistake, Acharya corrects them. So that tells you about the nature of the Panditya that is there in this Pita. And it is not like you see this once here and not there. Every single Acharya has been the same way. They are Xerox copies of each other. The qualities of one Acharya are exactly the same as the one in the next. Up to and including sometimes even hand motions and facial expressions also. That is what you have as in Gita as Acharyopasanam. It is not enough to just revere the Acharya. Acharya Upasana, it is a worship. You need to study the Guru that closely. Upasana, to be in the presence of the Acharya. That Guru Shishya Bhava also, you will not see a better Guru than the previous Acharya. You will not see a better Shishya than that Acharya's student. Right? So, that Shastra Panditya has been protected so well in this parampara that it is unimaginable. The number of Shastric treatises that have been written up to Mahasannidhanam. Mahasannidhanam has written so many Shastra Granthas. Only thing is they have not been published under Acharya's name. There was when Pandita started a work. Mahasannidhanam finished it. But Acharya's magnanimity is that which Acharya said, he started that work, let the whole thing be published under his name. Acharya did not even put his name on it. So when this is the case, we will not find a better parampara that embodies these two qualities, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. Those are the qualities of a guru that will give you moksha. See, you can go to anyone to study Vedanta Shastra, right? To study the books, to study Brahma Sutra, you can go to anyone. There is no block there. And please learn wherever you can. I'm also telling you that. Please learn wherever, whenever, however you can. Knowledge should never be there should never be upeksha towards it. But when you come to getting moksha, then you need to have one person that has these qualities. So you go to such a guru, and then you do Vedanta Shravana from him. That Acharya teaches you Vedanta. What does he say? Aham Brahmasmi. He says Gautamji is running a retreat in Sringeri. It is called Aham Brahmasmi. Please go there. So, what is Mahavakya Upadesha? What is a Mahavakya? Any Vakya that is really long, right? A sentence that runs for 2 pages is also a Mahavakya. No, a Vakya that conveys a great import is a Mahavakya. There is nothing greater that words can convey besides Jeeva Brahmaikya. So any Vakya that tells you Jeeva Brahmaikya is a Mahavakya, which is why Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Ayam Atma Brahma, Ayam Atma Brahma. These are not the only four. There are more, right? Etadvai, Tat comes in Kathopanishad several times. Etadvai, Tat. Etad is this Atma, is Tat, that, right? So Brahmaivahamasmi comes, Ahamasmi Brahma, Ahamasmi comes. So there are so many places in Veda that this Jiva Brahmaikya is clearly shown. They are all Mahavakyas. Right? So the Acharya will teach you that Mahavakya, and then what will happen? Brahmatma Tattvam Avagamya. Then the student realizes that he is Brahman. So the moha that he had, that avidya that caused all of this story to unfold, that avidya is now gone. And then what happens? Nivritta ajnana tatkarya. So that ajnana, that avidya is gone, and tatkarya, everything caused by avidya is also gone. Right? So if a cloth is made out of threads, if you burn the threads, where is the cloth? Gone. In the same way, if this jagat is created by ajnana, once ajnana goes, jagat is gone. Correct. So that is gone. And then what happens? Brahma rupaha avatisthate. Then what is left? What does exist as? Brahman. That Satchidananda Brahman that we talked about in the beginning. That is how he remains. Avatisthate. It is not even he stays like that, because he becomes like that means he was not like that, and he has changed and become he's become like this. That is not what Bhagavatada says. Avatisthate means he remains as Brahman. See, at no point did this Jiva stop being Satchidananda. It is only that he did not realize it. So now Brahma Rupaha Avatisthate. He remains as Brahman. And iti iyam Vedantanam Maryada. This is the Paddhati of Vedanta Shastra. So what the Upanishads tell? What is Vedanta? Upanishad. Vedanta means Upanishad. So this is the Maryada of the Upanishads. This is the story of the Upanishads. This is the protocol of the Upanishads. This is the path that the Upanishads have given us. One sentence, as I said, starting here until here. One sentence, and I have not left one word that Bhagavatpada has written, including api and cha. Those also I have told you. Right? So, in one sentence, look at what a comprehensive. This is a blueprint. This is a blueprint from Bandha to Moksha of how you need to go. What is the problem? What are the symptoms of the problem? It is like a doctor, right? This is the problem. These are the symptoms. This is why the problem is persisting. Right? This is why the illness is persisting. This is the pathya, right? This is the treatment for this. This is where you can get this treatment. That also the doctor will tell, right? Go to this doctor, go to that. This is where you can get the treatment. This is the nature of the treatment. Once you are healed, this is how it will be. Right? That is exactly what Bhagavatpada has done here. That is why we call Bhagavatpada as Jagat Guru. Why is he Jagat Guru? He has not sat down and done patha for every single person in this world. But his teachings ensure that every single person in this world will get Shreyas. Anyone that wants welfare in their life, whether it is in the dharmic sense, in the Laukika sense, or in the absolute sense, which is moksha, they will find fruition, they will find fulfillment in Bhagavatpada's words. That is why Bhagavan that gave us Veda is Jagat Guru, right? Krishna is Jagat Guru, Dakshinamurti is Jagat Guru, and you see this word Jagat Guru applied to all Devatas. Right? In Shiva Stotra you get Jagat Guru, everywhere you get Jagat Guru. Right? So Bhagavan is Jagat Guru. Then Vyasa Maharshi, he gave us the Brahma Sutras, he divided the Vedas because learning everything will be not possible. At least let them learn a part of it. So he separated the Vedas out for us. He gave us even that we cannot understand, so he gave us Brahma Sutras. Even that we cannot understand, so he gave us Puranas. Even that we cannot understand, so he gave us Mahabharata. Then after that, Bhagavatpada, how much work Bhagavatpada has put into his life. He goes from Kanyakumari to Himalayas by foot 3 times. For what? For us. Right? There is nothing else that he is a Jivan Mukta. He did that for us. He wrote so much. Why did he write? It is not enough that the people I tell in this time should be liberated. I want people for all time to be liberated, which is why it's written. Okay, what if they cannot understand what I have written? Okay, I will give them four pithas in the four corners, only four that he has given to us, and he has ensured that there are paramparas there that have people qualified to teach us this jnana, right? So not only has Bhagavatpada liberated the people of that time and protected India, he has also given us the literary treasure needed to protect this. And not only the literary treasure, he has given us institutional capabilities also to make sure that this is preserved as is properly. And as I told you, the fruition of Bhagavatpada's ideal can be seen here exactly as is. So if you want to, this is not something I'm saying. You can see it happen in this Pita. That is why. So that is why Bhagavatpada is called Jagat Guru. And because Bhagavatpada's spirit is embodied in all the people following in that parampara, all of these acharyas also, as well as the acharyas of the other three Pithas, are also called Jagat Gurus. So that is the blessings that our acharyas have given. This is the Vedantanam Maryada. This is the path that the Vedantas have drawn for us. So if you want bandha, if you don't want bandha, if you want moksha from the bandha, then this is the path. It is in one sentence. So with these few words, I'll take my leave. I can only answer questions for 5 minutes, unfortunately. But in those 5 minutes, I will answer as much as I can. Okay. इत्येषा वाङ्मयी पूजा श्रीमच्छङ्करपादयोरर्पिता तेन देवेशः प्रीयतां मे सदाशिवः तव तत्त्वन्न जानामि कीदृशोऽसि महेश्वर यादृशोऽसि महादेव तादृशाय नमो नमः. Whoever has recorded this, please send the recording to Gautamji. That is all I ask. Questions? Please, no, please go ahead. So, through karma and bhakti, you prepare yourself for jnana. It is only jnana marga that will give you moksha in the end. Because we have the jnana devata kaivalyam, tameva viditva amrutattvameti. So, because see, the problem is what? What is the problem? Avidya. See, if the problem is ignorance, the only thing that can get rid of ignorance is knowledge. So, what will bhakti and karma do? See, the other thing is, we also say that without bhakti and karma, you will never get moksha. We say the same thing, but it is because they prepare you for knowledge. Right? Mhm. I mean, see, it is not like you won't find time in your day at all. Right? I mean, karma will, you have some karmas that you have to do. Right? So, by karma, I mean worship, prayer karma is what I mean. Whatever Sandhya Vandana, this puja, stotra parayana, this is what we mean by karma. Okay, so by doing this, as we just said, what happens? Chitta Shuddhi, you get Chitta Shuddhi. And the other thing is, this bhakti has become extremely diluted today. So, if you look at the bhakti that you see in stories, Dhruva, Prahlada, that bhakti is what you want. Whereas bhakti is you go to the temple, you put kunkuma, you do this, and you walk out. That is our bhakti for today. But obviously, as you said, this is not something that really helps jnana. So, bhakti and karma need to be such that they prepare you for this, right? So, what I mean is, it is like saying, let us take the same example. So, if you want a job, you need certain degrees. So you study. If you say, no, I want a job, why should I study? The studying is to give you the qualifications for the job. Right? In the same way, this bhakti and karma are meant to prepare you, to qualify you for jnana marga. Because see, it is all of our experience that we will listen to Vedanta. I am sure you all have understood what I have said so far, and you understand the process. If you go home now and you close your eyes and sit like this, how long can you honestly tell me that your mind will stay in one place for? Forget about the mind. How long will your body stay in one place for? 5 minutes, then 5 more minutes, this. 10 more minutes, you will sit in a chair. Right? 10 more minutes, you will sit in a chair. 10 more minutes, even in the chair, you will say, I'm starting to sweat, I will sit somewhere else. Right? So you need practice. You do puja, let us say you do Lalithadithya, you will have to get used to sitting 1.5 hours in one place. Starting from the body to the mind, there is a training necessary. So I mean, yes, in some ways you are right, in the sense that yes, you cannot drop everything and do jnana sadhana when you're still in the karma marga phase. But what are you supposed to do? As you do your karma, read some Vedanta. As you're doing some, read, look at, listen some Prakarana Granthas, listen to some Prasangas, listen to Pravachanas. Once you are good and ready, you will know when you are ready. Correct. Correct. And that is why the biggest blessing that we have is Upasana. This Upasana is the amalgamation of karma, bhakti, and jnana. So what you do in Upasana, it is partially a karma, right? You have some mantra, you have some Upadesha, you have some Anganyasa. There is a process to it. It is a karma. You take a sankalpa, right? So it is a karma. On one side, it is bhakti, right? It is worship of some devata, right? But if you do it properly, if you do Upasana properly, Upasana will become Jnana sadhana at some point. Because in the Advaitic mode, when you worship a devata, you are not worshipping a devata. You are worshipping Paramatma, which is why all the devatas have the same name. They are all the father of the Jagat. Vishnu is the father, Shiva is the father, Ganesha is the father, Krishna. Lakshmi is the mother, Saraswati is the mother, Parvati is the mother. Everyone is the mother, everyone is the father. They all give moksha. They all are they all are sarvagnya. They all. So how do you have this? It is because it's all the same point. You are taking Parabrahma and you are applying it to a Devata and you are doing Upasana of that Devata. And the way that our Granthakaras have also done it is every single Upasana they have shown how it is conducive to Brahma Vidya. So if you have Sri Vidya, that Sri Chakra, explaining that Sri Chakra is literally this. The Sri Chakra, the Bindu is where Shiva and Shakti are, where Ishvara and his Avidya are. So uh, that Bindu expanding into the world, right? That Shiva, that Atma and Avidya expanding into this world is that Bindu expanding into the Navavarnas and becoming the Sri Chakra. So if you understand the Sri Chakra properly, literally today's Prasanga is what you will have understood, right? The same way, every single thing that linga radhana, if you understand what a linga is properly, that there is so much Vedanta in that. And stories, right? As part of the Upasana, stories, all the stories of Shiva, all the stories of Vishnu, these are all meant to convey certain tattvas. So if you do Upasana properly, you will be doing karma, you will be accruing bhakti, and you will be doing jnana sadhana at the same time. So there is a reason why you have to do this. You cannot just let these go and say what sandhya vandana, what puja, let me do jnana. That will not be enough. Correct. So exactly, it is. See, everything in our shastra is always yathashakti. That is there everywhere. So after you do your duties, whatever time you have left, you can use it for Vedanta. Right? That is always the case. No one will ever tell you, my parents are old, but don't look after them. Read this book. Right? That will never be the case. Mm. Uh-huh. I didn't take. You said avidya tat karya nashah, right? Right. So the mind is also made up of avidya. So what you have done is you have cut off the bottom and it eventually percolates up. So now that avidya is gone, through virtue of avidya being gone, the mind that is made up of avidya is also gone. It is like you set a law. See, for any fire to burn, you need some kindling, right? So you light a wood on fire, a piece of wood on fire. What does the wood lets the fire burn, and in turn, what happens? It itself goes like that. That is the what do you say? The simile given in Shastra is that. So just as for fire to burn, you need wood. In the same way, for this jnana to come, right? Now that we are stuck in bandha, for this jnana to come, you need you need a mind, right? You need a mind to do all the sadhana. But once you have put the fire of jnana into this mind, it will burn everything. That is what Bhagavan says. Jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. Two more questions and then I will take. Avidya is Maya. It is Maya. They're the same thing. Two more questions because that is a quick one. Mm. So every object has an inherent Shakti, right? So, for example, fire has the capability to burn. Right? Fire has the capability to burn. Can we say that the capability to burn is separate from fire? No. But can we say that it is exactly the same as fire? No. So you cannot say it is different, you cannot say it is the same. But only one principle is there, which is fire. Right? So in the same way, the inherent Shakti of this Brahman is avidya. So through that avidya, all this is created, and it is also capable of pulling that back. But so you cannot say, that is why in Viveka Chudamani you have one shloka which is Bhinnapyabhinnapyubhayatmikano Sangapyanangapyubhayatmikano. Um, like that you have one Bhinnapi Abhinnapi Ubhayatmika. No, it is not different from Brahman because Dvaita, also because if it is separate from Brahman, these two cannot work together, right? This should be doing its thing and that should be doing its thing. And it is not Abhinna from Brahman because they are of opposing natures, right? One is ignorance, the other is complete knowledge. And Ubhayatmika, you cannot say it is part Brahman, part Avidya because Tamas and Prakasha will never be in one thing together, right? So what is it is Mahatbhuta Anirvachaniya Maya. That is what Bhagavad. But see, Dvaitis, they say that it is just an answer to get out of the question. You're just saying we cannot explain it because you do not have an explanation. That is not the case. It is in the sense that I just told you. So if the ability to burn, if you ask me, if I show you a fire and say, where is the ability to burn? What will you show me? No, you cannot show it. And as I said, you cannot say that the capability to burn is the same as the fire because this is a capability, this is an entity. Can you say it is the same? No, because you're saying fire is burning. What does that mean? Fire has the capability to burn. If you're saying something has something else, these two have to be separate. So you cannot say they are the same. But there is nothing other than fire. So if you can understand this, you can understand that. And the other thing is swapna, right? Same thing is swapna. So swapna is also created out of ignorance only, right? So is that separate from you in the swapna? Is there anything else other than you? No, but it is still coming out of your own ignorance and it is going back into you. So yeah, that is the case of avidya. It is a very curious case. But when we say it is anirvachaniya, we don't mean that we don't know how it works. We mean we know, but neither I nor you can define that way. I can show you this is how it works, but you and I cannot sit down and write a dictionary definition for it. Mm. ఎలా జరగకూడదంటే అది ఆ దృఢమైన నిశ్చయం ఉండాలి. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఒక పని నేను తప్పకుండా టంచనగా చేయాలి. దీన్ని మానకుండా నేను చేయాలి అంటే అది మన నిశ్చయం పట్టు ఉంటుంది. ఆ నిశ్చయము వేరే వాళ్ళు ఎవ్వరూ చేయలేరు. సాక్షాత్తు జగద్గురువులు చెయ్యి అని చెప్పినా కూడా మనం చేస్తే తప్ప అవ్వదు కదా అది. మనం దేవుడిని బతిమాలుకోవచ్చు. అంటే దేవుడిని బతిమాలుకోవడం వల్ల ఏమవుతుంది? మనం మానాల్సిన పరిస్థితి రాకుండా చూసుకోవచ్చు దేవుడు. మనం మానాల్సిన పరిస్థితి రాకుండా చూసుకోవచ్చు. కానీ కానీ పరిస్థితి లేకపోయినా కూడా మానకుండా అది మొత్తం మన మీద ఆధారపడింది. మనకే ఆ బద్ధకం ఉండకూడదు. అది నాకు సమయం ఉంది, చేసే ఓపిక కూడా ఉంది, అయినా కూడా నేను చేయలేదు, ఇదంతా దేవుడు నాకు సరైన బుద్ధి ఇవ్వకపోవడం వల్ల అని అదేం కుదరదు. వన్ మోర్ ఐ కెన్ డూ వన్ మోర్. So this is a question that actually Acharya has answered in an Anugrah Bhashana. So many people say it is a common question, right? See, you say that this guru needs to be this lofty entity, and with good reason, right? You cannot just have some Namke Vaste person be a guru. So how do I realize that this is the nature of the guru, or how do I go around searching for some person, and what do I do for myself? Acharya said very nicely, until you find a personal guru, Bhagavan is your guru. I told you, I said, right, Bhagavan is the first Jagat Guru. Before any other Vyasa or Shankaracharya or Acharya, the first Jagat Guru is Bhagavan. So what you need to do is put Bhagavan as your Guru. And what has Bhagavan taught us? Bhagavad Gita. So study that as best as you can and worship Bhagavan as best as you can. When that fructifies, Bhagavan will show you a Guru. Until then, your Guru is Bhagavan. It is not like you are ever without a Guru. Right? So that is what you do until then. And see, the other thing is self improvement is honestly very evident to us. We are all very aware of our failings. We are all very aware of our flaws. See, we know I get angry very easily. You know that, right? So work on it. You don't need someone else to come tell you that, right? Or I like this too much. No one has to come and if you have figured it out, you work on it. Why do you need someone else to come and tell you? So once that has happened, obviously opportunities will present themselves to you. Right? So it is partially this part is the self work that you need to do. As someone that wants to be on this path, it is your responsibility to work on yourself in this way. On the other hand, yes, you need a guru, you need the guru's grace, and all of that needs to be there. Until you find a guru that can personally guide you, Bhagavan is your guru. And the thing is, he is there everywhere. See, let us say Acharya is your guru, you need to come to Shinge. Bhagavan, he is everywhere. You know, hit that pillar, be Prahlada, he will come out and come tell you. That is it. Hmm. Hmm. Very good question. So this will be, I'll answer this slightly at length, and then the kids are waiting, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. So you're very correct in that not just bhakti, but karma itself is a dualistic process, right? You do some karma and you expect Ishvara to give you a phala. So you are separate from that, but bhakti also. See, the thing about bhakti is of two forms. There is saguna bhakti and nirguna bhakti. Saguna bhakti will give you a phala. Nirguna bhakti will lead you to jnana. That is the way Shastras have defined it. What do we mean by that? So what is Ishvara? Okay. My question was very unclear. That is on me. So what we mean by Ishvara is it is Brahman who has taken upon a form with Maya. Correct? Okay. So now when you say and bhakti is worship of that Ishvara or devotion towards that Ishvara. So now which aspect do you have devotion towards? So in this Ishvara there are now two forms. There is the Shuddha Chaitanya and the name and the form. So which is it that your devotion is attached to? Uh, exactly. So it is because your attachment is to the name and the form that you are saying, today I'm worshipping, I'm doing Shiva Puja, tomorrow I'm doing Vishnu Puja. Why? Name has changed and form has changed. Today he has two arms, today he has two eyes, tomorrow he has three. Today he has four arms, tomorrow he has two. Right? This is changing. But what you need to do is if you change your view and you say, okay, today I am worshipping that Sarvagnya Sarvashakta Paramatma who looks like this today. Tomorrow I'm worshipping that same Paramatma that looks like Shiva. Now, what is your bhakti directed towards? Chaitanya. And now, what is the point of any bhakti? To understand the object of meditation more clearly, right? So, now, if you understand that Shuddha Chaitanya clearly, what have you really understood? No, that's what you said. Jiva is the same as Ishvara. So, what do we mean? The Shuddha Chaitanya and Ishvara is the same as the Shuddha Chaitanya and the Jiva. So, because it is very hard for us to look in, we are told to look out. And when you look out, we are told start with a name and a form, but do not get stuck there. If you get stuck there, it will be a crutch. It will become a crutch for you. See, you walk with a crutch until your leg can take the weight. Once that is done, if you still walk with a crutch, they'll call you a madman. Right. So once your leg heals, which means once you are now able to see Ishvara as that Nirguna Ishvara. So now what is Nirguna Ishvara? Nirguna Ishvara is Shuddha Chaitanya. What are you supposed to realize that you are? You are Shuddha Chaitanya. So now that you have realized what Shuddha Chaitanya is, you can now see that in yourself. And at that point, you start worshipping Ishvara not as an external entity, but as yourself. And that bhakti will actually be very even stronger than Nirguna Bhakti. Right? See, can any of us say that we are a greater bhakta than Shuka? See, it is Shuka Maharshi who is the greatest of jnanis that has taught Bhagavata. Why is this possible? See, bhakti is love. Right? Satvasmin parama prema rupa is a Bhakti Sutra. Bhakti is the highest form of love possible. What do we love more than anything else? Ourselves. It is impossible for us to love anything other than ourselves. Even if we wish the welfare of someone else, it is because that makes us feel good. Right? So, so that is why even though the mother may go through some trouble for the child, it is because the child's welfare makes the mother happy. So, in the end, who is she really doing it for? The mother's purpose, right? So, the greatest love you feel for anything is yourself, correct? So now, if you realize that the Chaitanya of Ishvara is your own Chaitanya, right? So if you realize that you are Shuddha Chaitanya, and then you realize that it is that Shuddha Chaitanya that is present in Ishvara. Now, do you love Ishvara as someone else or as yourself? yourself. And second thing, to love anything else, there has to be a reason. There has to be a reason. Even in the dualistic form of bhakti, you say, I love Bhagavan, but no, you love Bhagavan because he is Bhagavan. There is still a cause there. You love Bhagavan because you see something you like in him. You love Bhagavan because you see some great qualities in him. Right? It is not, I love Bhagavan just because. But with yourself, why do you love yourself? There is no answer to that. As you said, your nature is Ananda, so you love yourself. So now in the Nirguna Bhakti, now that you have realized that the Chaitanya is one, do you have a reason to love Bhagavan? No. But what is the degree of love that you have for Ishvara? So much. Which is why again Bhagavata is Atma Ramascha Munaya. That Munis, the Jnanis, they are Atma Rama. They gain all their Ananda from their Atma. They don't look for external bhakti. But what do? Kurvantyahayitukim bhaktim. The bhakti that they do is ahetuki. The bhakti that they do does not have a hetu. It is causeless. Like we say, Bhagavan is avyaja karuna, right? He has mercy without cause. Why? Because Bhagavan also knows that this Atma is the same. Which is why Bhagavan can have mercy without a cause. Otherwise, there is no way that there can be mercy without cause. Right? The mother will run when her child cries. She will not run when other child cries. Why? There is a cause for mercy here. But with Bhagavan, it is not the case. Because with Bhagavan is, what do you say? He is Nitya Mukta, right? So he knows that this Atma is one. So he will go running when they call. So in the same way, the Bhakta also, once he gets Jnana, having realized that it is only one Atma, the Bhakti does not need a reason. I love Bhagavan the same way I love myself because it is the same thing. So that is why the non-dualistic form of bhakti is actually 10 times higher than anything that a dualistic bhakti can even conceive of. And it is also why the non-dualistic form of bhakti can only be gotten through the dualistic form of bhakti. It is only if you do that is why it is called upasana, right? When you do upasana of a devata, you're sitting close to that devata and studying the devata. Right? So why are you studying it? It is the nama and rupa are evident. You know, yes, he has a peacock feather and a flute. Or yes, he has three eyes and jata and chandra and ganga. That is evident. You don't need to do upasana for that. Why do you need to do upasana? To know what the true nature is. What is the true nature? The nameless, formless principle behind the name and the form. So that is what the dualistic bhakti is leading you to it. So the dualistic bhakti, as you said, yes, it is dualistic, but it leads you to non-dualism in this exact way.